Education at 6 p.m. with Cruz, Gagne, Schaefer, and now present. And before we begin, please silence all your electronic devices. These proceedings are recorded and may capture images and sounds of those present. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 5:15 to 5:53 p.m. regarding conference with legal counsel, existing and anticipated litigation, student discipline, conference with labor negotiators, ACT and CSEA, public employee discipline dismissal release, and public employee appointment, high school assistant principal. The board voted to appoint John Landers, assistant principal, Ayala High School, effective September 20th, 2019, by the following vote. Cruz, Gagne, Schaefer, Nah, yes. Hernandez Blair, absent. No further action was taken, which requires public disclosure.
Okay. Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Mrs. Coley from Chino Hills High School, Booster.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now at evening's only presentation. Dr. Enfield.
Yes, tonight I'm excited to be able to present to the board several new programs that you've been asking for over the last several years for us to bring forward. And so tonight Dr. Park is going to do a presentation on two of the new programs that we're excited to be bringing to our district. So with that, Dr. Park.
Okay, as soon as we're queued up, we'll be ready to start.
Is it warming up?
I promise it's going to be great.
About that technology, huh?
It's on. We did a test.
Is this awesome? Yeah, but you can't be focused on it because it's not doing anything. Just a picture. There we go.
Right. President Na, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and community. We are excited to present to the Board of Education this evening two pipelines that will begin at the elementary level and will be further developed into our junior high and high schools to prepare our students for success for beyond graduation. We have Yvette Farley, our Director of Access and Equity, who will be introducing the development of our multilingual academy pathways, and Luke Hackney, our Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, who will share the launch of a computer immersion program which will prepare our students to thrive in some new cutting-edge programs we have planned for the new Chino High School.
The first pipeline is our dual language immersion program, which is the start of creating a K-12 multilingual academy pathway. Dual language immersion is a way to learn academic content while acquiring another language at the same time. Because of the teaching strategies used, the students learn the concepts and skills for the subject area and develop the ability to read, write, speak, and listen in another language. participation in a dual language immersion program is considered to be a comprehensive educational experience. It is our expectation that students who participate in the language immersion experience participate fully in the school academic day and its prescribed instructional design. The development of our K-12 multilingual academy pathway will begin with the implementation of a dual language program at 2 elementary sites. Hidden Trails has been selected for the Mandarin program and Ana Borba for the Spanish program. These 2 sites have been selected because they each have room to grow the program and each have the student population to support the targeted language. Sorry. There are many benefits to dual language. Acquisition of a second language leads to an increase of graduating seniors being awarded the state seal of biliteracy. Students earning the state seal of biliteracy are proficient in 2 or more languages and are better prepared to compete in a global economy. An emphasis on an appreciation for other cultures prepares students for highly diverse workplaces and for the 21st century global interconnection in all fields of study and work. There are many cognitive advantages of being bilingual. Proficient bilinguals outperform monolinguals in problem solving, divergent thinking, and creativity. CVUSD is adopting the 90-10 model of instruction because research has shown that this model is the best in acquiring and sustaining a second language. Beginning in kindergarten, paired English and target language teachers collaborate to support student mastery of both the core content material and standards and targeted language skills. 90% of instruction will be in the targeted language and 10% of instruction will be in English, with the gradual change toward 50% of instruction in the targeted language and 50% of instruction in English in 4th through 6th grade, leading to the pathway into junior high and high school. The dual language implementation plan began in the 2018-2019 school year. The exploration phase consisted of gathering information via research, studying language acquisition models, and visitations to dual immersion programs. It included developing the process for implementing dual immersion in Chino Valley Unified School District. This is the first year of our planning phase. The planning phase is taking the information from the exploration phase and making decisions regarding school identification, policies and procedures, curriculum, and facility needs. We will continue the planning phase for the 2020-2021 school year. By the 2021-2022 school year, CVUSD will open 2 dual language immersion programs at Hidden Trails with the Mandarin dual language immersion program and Ana Borba with our Spanish dual language immersion program. Mr. Hackney will now introduce our second pipeline.
A second pipeline to prepare our students for success beyond graduation will be developed at Liberty Elementary School. This will be our computer immersion program. A fun fact to note is that 2/3 of kids start using digital learning materials at home by the age of 5. Also important to note is that computer science is the #1 source of wages currently in our country. And 90% of parents want their child to study computer science, however, access is not yet universal. So it is important to expose students early in their education to enlarge and enhance the pool of potential candidates to fill our current gap in talent in this market. The computer immersion difference. At a computer immersion school, there will be one-to-one devices in all classrooms. The fundamentals of computer science will be part of the daily curriculum, and you are going to get to see how computer science is part of the daily curriculum in a short clip that we are going to show you later. Students will also strengthen critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication skills through 21st century literacy. The implementation plan for Liberty Elementary School begins this school year. This school year, the staff at Liberty will continue to provide outstanding instruction in all current academic areas, and technology will be used to enhance that instruction. There will be no additional curriculum added this school year. Next school year, there will be computer science curriculum used to supplement the outstanding instruction that occurs at Liberty, and that computer science curriculum will be Code to the Future. There will also be professional development that will be provided to staff in this computer science curriculum as well. Let's take a look at what Code to the Future looks like with computer science as part of their curriculum.
Well, my favorite part of Code to the Future is just, having fun in a way that we're still learning.
We build structures with Legos, and then we modeled the structures using Scratch.
We had to build it as we were using it, placing blocks and making characters move.
In my second grade, they made robotic frogs.
You can't place the blocks by yourself. You have to program it into your agent, and it'll build for you.
One who sometimes is technology challenged to have that experience, not only by myself, but with my children, and to watch them grow. So they are becoming designers, thinkers, and we're constantly relating that to careers that they, might not have thought about, even in 5th grade.
Like how to build a house on a computer if you're a construction worker. You can create a story, and you can build the story, and you then program it to do what the story has. It includes collaboration and cooperation. Makes my brain get better and better and better at getting math.
Based on this clip, you can see that computer science is more than just computer literacy. It involves high levels of student engagement through innovative methods, and as a result, the curriculum becomes more relevant because it is meaningful to our students. And this concludes our presentation to the board this evening.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Mr. Cruz, then Mr. Schaefer.
Research-based, so I'm assuming that when it comes to the CAS assessment, there might be some improvement. It's good to, and it's research-based, so it's excellent that you guys are doing that. And then for learning to code at that young age, do you know the programs that the children are going to be learning? The type of coding? Python or?
The Code to the Future curriculum is the curriculum that they'll be utilizing. There may be some components within that, but the curriculum will be Code to the Future.
Wow, that's awesome. And you would expect people from outside that don't attend may want to go to Liberty. So is that potential? Oh,
Yes.
good. That's good. Thank you.
Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and I'm very excited to see these programs coming in. The dual immersion programs have been around for a while, and I'm glad we're on board with them. A couple of questions, and it kind of relates to both programs, but probably more specifically to the dual language implementation. Have we identified any potential staffing, special staffing needs, or any potential problems with staffing?
Since we are currently in the first year of the planning, we were working with human resource and seeking out the credentialed teachers. So at a lot of the job fairs and initiatives, there are certain programs that we can utilize if we are not finding credentialed here. So,
Okay. Especially like a Mandarin, I would assume that that's probably a pretty specialized position, somebody that can teach in both languages. Is that how the
Correct.
program is going to work, or are there going to be 2 instructors in the class?
No, there'll be one instructor, so we are implementing with kindergarten as a first year, so 90% of the instruction will be in the targeted language. If for the English portion, they will work collaboratively with their partnered teacher for specialized English instruction, so that there is only one teacher per language.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I have a comment. Yeah, I'm quite excited about the immersion program. I'll tell you about the language. I think earlier you start, it's much better for them. It's very difficult to take 2-3 years of foreign language in high school level and be proficient. So I think this is a great step. I know I'm not too smart anymore because our brains kind of get more solid as you get older. So I wouldn't be able to take lesson Mandarin, but I do remember taking a Spanish class. And one day I did hope that I was thinking that I could have learned this earlier. So I think it's a great start. The computer-wise, I have difficult time using my iPhone. I have to ask students to help me out, and they're already smarter than us, technology-wise, but also we need to be mindful about little ones, the kindergartners and first, second graders, where they need to have also a human touch when education comes to place. Because many times, I had mentioned last meeting, I see young mothers who throw out iPhones when the babies are crying at 1 or 2 age, and you're not teaching them anything. Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious and also giving that information out to the parents as well. Thank you so much.
You're up.
We are now comments from our student representative, Audrey. I see your dad and your sisters here.
Yes. Good evening, board members, President Na, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and community members. I'm Audrey Ng, the student representative, and first I would like to report on the Digital for Good Day, which occurred on Monday. And representatives from Chino Hills High School and Ayala High School were pleased to attend Digital for Good Day up at Facebook headquarters, and they were able to participate in a series of different speakers talking about the importance of staying aware and being kind on social media, and about the impact it has on mental health, especially in youth, and they were able to take some of those ideas and hopefully be able to implement them into those schools. Next, we had our first Superintendent Student Advisory Council meeting this past Tuesday, September 17th, and I would like to introduce the SAC Executive Board. So we have Justin Rendon, who is our Vice President, Nicole Sayama, who is the Secretary, Kylie Kay, she's our Communications and Social Media, and Katrina Hitchcock is the Special Projects. So this year, what SAC is mainly focusing on is kindness and inclusivity. That is our big theme of the year. And at our first meeting, we were able to divide up into groups and come up with a theme based on kindness and inclusivity to launch hopefully another successful campaign involving those things. And our next meeting will be on Tuesday, October 15th. That is an all-day meeting. So what will happen is all the representatives on SAC will meet together for the entire day and hopefully come up with certain activities tying into our theme and plan out the Kindness Week that will take place this year throughout all of the schools. An agenda point at the meeting was monthly updates. One goal that Ms. Brown and I have for this year is to make sure that representatives from each school is aware of what the other is doing, so we can all, because we're all part of the same district. So for those monthly updates, I'll just briefly go through them. Chino Hills High School has created an open forum, so every second period, which is their homeroom, they have representatives from each second period meet together to discuss certain concerns around campus, and hopefully the ASB over there can address them. Chino High School has their ICC meetings, which is every club comes together and shares what they're doing in the club and how the school can help them with their goals. At Don Lugo, they are having a blood drive, and then they also have their Chino versus Don Lugo volleyball game. And October 11th is their homecoming. At Ayala High School, our homecoming is coming up on October 19th, And October 18th will be our homecoming game. The theme is Wizard of Oz, so there's no place like homecoming. And then our rally, which is Nickelodeon themed, it's our athletic rally that'll be taking place next Friday, so we're preparing for that currently. Similarly to Chino Hills High School, their open forum, we have what is called Speaker of the House meetings. So we have a member of our executive board who is the Speaker of the House, a lead Speaker of the House meetings, which is one student from every fourth period classroom comes together and we discuss ideas to include the whole campus, spirit days, different activities, homecoming themes, and overall concerns that they have to address. At Buena Vista, they're having rewards for the perfect attendance students, and at Canyon Hills Junior High, they had their back to school festival, and they're preparing for their club rush and their rally. At Briggs, they had their back to school dance. Their rally was October 5th, and they're also having their Halloween dance. At Cal Aero, they are having their Halloween dance as well and club rush. At Magnolia, they're having their first dance, which every student is eligible to go to. And then a Spirit Week is coming up at the end of this month. And they also have their McTeacher Night, which is going to be at McDonald's. Ramona had their back to school rally, which was themed Old Disney Channel, and their dance, which is Glow in the Dark. Townsend has their Halloween dance, and they have their back to school night as well. Allegiance had their first assembly, which was regarding 9/11, and they had first responders from the community meet and share their story with the kids there. And they're also doing a fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House. And with that, that concludes my update. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next will be employee representatives. Do we have Brenda Walker? She's not here. Daniel Hernandez from CSA? No. Then we have Mr. Tom McKessie from CHAMP. No comments. Yeah, but we got Don Lugo students, so it's okay. Right in the front. Thank you. We're now at comments from the audience on the items not on the agenda. Pat, are there any requests to speak? Speakers will be called in the order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberation on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind, board typically does not respond to comments during this time, as it is reserved for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. Additionally, board does its best to support the public rights to address its elected officials. It is also important that the board conduct its business in an orderly and fair fashion as provided by Board Bylaw 9323. In the event that the unusual amount of speaker cards are submitted for any item, board will hear up to 30 minutes of comments. In the case of non-agenda items, the board can, if it chooses, hear the remainder of comments after all business has been conducted. Mr. Cruz.
On speakers, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Begin when you see the green light. The yellow light means 30 seconds left. The red light means stop. Audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, bylaws of the board meeting conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks, and please limit remarks to new points. The board would like to remind you that Board Policy 1312.1 contains the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. The first speaker is Tricia Cawley, followed by Yi Eubanks, followed by Jeff Morabito.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tricia Cawley, and I'm not here to talk about bingo. I'm here to talk about swim and dive. So here's a little background. Chino Hills High competes in dual swim dive meets in a highly competitive league. So if you do not have a dive team, you get 0 points for all dive events, and there is no way of winning the meet with swimmers alone. So Chino Hills High School Swim and Dive just completed their most successful season yet. We placed second in the baseline league, barely losing to Damien, who is undefeated for over 3 years. We had multiple individual league champions, including my kid, and broke over 20 school records. I left you all an attachment showing our coach's summary as well as our broken varsity records. At this time, the Chino Valley School District no longer has a diving board in our school district. With the recent updates to the Don Lugo pool, the diving board was taken out and it was never put back in. In order for our district athletes to compete and dive, they must travel at their own expense to Rancho Cucamonga a few days a week just to practice. What other high school sport is expected to drive over 20 miles one way multiple times a week just for practice? We cannot host dual meets as we do not have the equipment. This is not fair to our dive team athletes, nor is it fair to our swim team athletes who cannot compete without dive. Is it a money issue? The school district has rented out the Chino Hills High School pool all summer, and it continues to rent it out every weeknight. These outside teams who rent the pool also have use of our pool deck equipment. Since school ended in May, the district has made over $40,000 in renting out the Chino Hills High School pool. Where is this money going? It's not going to replace the broken equipment that the district has rented out this summer. At this point, the outside teams are using the equipment more than the high school teams, but the high school parents are expected to fund the replacements. It's not going to fix our overused showers. I left you guys an attachment of what our girls' showers look like right now. I understand there are pool maintenance and upkeep costs, but the school district should be using the remaining funds to fix the overuse of the areas that they have no problem renting out and to fund a diving facility that would benefit all of the Chino Valley School District. If we need to fundraise, I have a lot of experience in fundraising. If we need grants written, I have a lot of experience in that area as well. What can we do to get a diving facility back in Chino Hills?
Thank you.
Yu Banks?
Hi, my name is Yi Eubanks, and I am a teacher for students that are severely handicapped in this school district. And I'm here to express my gratitude for two things. Firstly, I want to thank you guys for working with the union to reach a tentative agreement. And I hope to see future working together as effectively as you did this time. And so that's the first thing I want to express my gratitude for. Second thing is I want to express my gratitude for the board for working so effectively in getting me the technology I needed for the classroom. In June, I was here to ask for technology for my classroom. And all I'm asking for is old desktop for my students. And come school started, and I'm like, not gonna lie, in my brain I'm thinking I'm getting in about 2 years. So come school started, the Wi-Fi is crashing, it's not connecting like it was earlier, and it was, the desktop was crashing and nothing was connecting. I'm like, great. So I sent out a quick email to all the board members, and Joe Schaefer and Christina responded really quickly to look into it. Within a few weeks, I have 5 Chromebooks into all the SH classrooms. And I have to admit, it's a lot better than the desktop I was thinking about. It's a lot more user-friendly for my students, and it's a lot faster, and the battery lasts a lot longer. So I'm just here to say thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you.
Jeff Morabito?
Good evening, Chino Valley Unified School District Board members, superintendent, and staff. My name is Jeff Morabito, and I'm the principal at Sycamore Academy in Chino Hills. Tonight, I would like to thank CVUSD for the quick response in regards to the keys to the building. After the issue was brought before this board last meeting, the issue was resolved in 2 days, and I want to thank you for that. As a site principal, I want to express my thanks to CVUSD staff that has been so willing to help us. I don't know all of their names, but I do know some. Caesar Portugal has been very helpful, and so has Sean and other members of the locksmith team. All of the people that have moved in and out of furniture, they have always been a pleasure to work with. Also, Dr. Carr and the staff at CVLA have been very warm and accommodating. In fact, today we participated in a joint fire drill that went flawlessly. I also want to thank President Na for visiting our school site last week. The entire Sycamore community appreciates that you took the time out of your busy schedule to visit our school. Like at every school, news travels fast. And the news of your visit was a big topic at our school, and many parents openly asked me to express their thanks to you, so thank you. Thankfully, we are getting closer to having all of our issues resolved. The major issue that is still unresolved is with IT. To be specific, the students still do not have internet access. Earlier today, a team of people, some from CVUSD, met with our school at our school site to discuss solutions to our IT problems. Unfortunately, the meeting did not end with an arrangement for a remedy. And this afternoon, Executive Director Barbara Hales did send an email to the board members and staff that has been working diligently on this issue, expressing her concerns. And it is my hope as the principal that for the sake of the students that CVUSD will continue to work with Sycamore Academy at solving these issues. And thank you again for all the things that you have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
The final speaker, Kathy Osmond.
Good evening. I planned to speak on seeing past the hype of new technologies, which I'm using one of the teaching magazines as my source here. And it had said that there was a decision in 2013 for Los Angeles Unified School District to proceed with a $1.3 billion plan to put an iPad loaded with a Pearson curriculum in the hands of every student, whereas technical glitches and lack of teacher training were just a couple of problems that eventually crippled the initiative. I'm going to let that go for a while and say that we've always been taught that technology is important for school, for success beyond graduation in college and in life, in jobs, and also that there should be a balance, because not only is technology important, so is reading. When we do back-to-school speeches, we have been given some papers that say how much higher your scores can be if you read X amount of books, and how much more higher it can be if you read these amount of books per week, and so on. And then there's also some paperwork that says how much higher pay you can earn if you read a lot of books when you're young. So I know that we've had research on this and that we've always been dedicated to students learning to read well. Also, I have parents coming to me saying, how can I get my kids to love reading? Well, we don't have any trouble with getting kids to love technology. And I think we should be careful that we are not glorifying technology to the detriment of books. And also, how do you get them to love reading? Well, you have to be an example. You need to be reading, and you need to read with your child. So how can we get parents to do that when we're glorifying technology? So I also want to bring up, is it true that, like with language learning, the earlier you start, the better? I think language immersion is tremendous. But I'm not sure the earlier you start is true for technology. There have been the American Pediatric Society that said no screens before age 2, and then maybe there shouldn't be screens for the early grades while you're learning to read. Let them get a foundation in reading first, and then add the technology. I think it's great, but I think you shouldn't do it when they're really young. And finally, computers should not be seen as toys. They should be seen as tools, and I think it's great that we're teaching kids to use them as tools and get good jobs and help the community and the world. But they shouldn't be given ViewSonics in the early grades.
We're now at changes and deletions. Pat?
The following changes on the agenda. Human Resources, item 2E1, page 87, certificated personnel under Cindy Cow. Strike Ramona Junior High School as the location and correct to read Briggs K-8.
We're now at consent items. Pat, are there any speakers? Seeing none. Board members, do you have any polls? Mr. Cruz?
No polls.
Mrs. Gagne?
No polls.
And Mr. Schaefer?
One poll.
Yes.
Item 2D14, thank you.
2D14.
Page 74.
Page 74. And I have no opposed. For the remainder of the consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs.
Second.
Gagne, seconded by Mr. Cruz. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Preferential?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Page 74, 2D14. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Gagne, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. And Mr. Schaefer?
Yeah, this is actually, the issue I have is on page 76. To give a little background on this so that it doesn't sound like we're talking abstractly, this is a contract for due diligence on a piece of property the district's potentially looking to acquire in the city of Chino. The problems that the problem that I have, or concern that I have, like I said, is on page 76, related to number 4C, and it lays out some parameters put on the district and the district's contractors related to any potential problems with the property, whether it says there's materials, archaeological findings, anything along those facts. It puts some constraints on the district and the board in how we can relay that information to the public. And I don't want to delay the project any. I'd like to see it move forward. But I'm concerned about our inability to potentially provide information to the community and all the stakeholders if there is an issue. Is it probable? No. Is it possible? Yes. And so looking ahead, I'm not comfortable in having our hands tied and having an outside entity write the narrative for our timeline on this project. And so with the current language that's in there, I'm not comfortable with this item.
Any other comments? Ms. Gagne.
Mr. Schaefer, I definitely appreciate your concerns. From my understanding, and Superintendent's Cabinet, you can verify this or not, my understanding is, though, that this process, this exploration process, is all public. And so all the due diligence being done are subject to being public records, which means that anything that happens or any issues that are found, a member of the public could discover these issues by making a Public Records Act request. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
That's something, Jay.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer.
And that is true. But that would require somebody from the public having the foresight to go and do a Public Records Request Act. It ties the district's hands and it ties the board's hands in providing honest and transparent communication with the community. And I just can't sign off on that.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Preferential?
Aye.
Passes 3-1. Information items.
None.
Okay, board member comments. I'm going to start, Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. Dr. Infield and Mr. Chair, can one of you briefly talk about the pool and diving board issue?
I'll let Mr. Stachur.
Sure. So the diving board in question at Don Lugo High School was removed quite a few years ago now due to, it was basically falling apart and it was a safety hazard. And we did not have any dive teams at the time. So it was removed and a new one was not put in. Recently, earlier this year, a request was made to look into installing a diving board back at Don Lugo, which at this time is the only pool other than Chino High School that is deep enough to accommodate a diving board. We had to do some, our consultant had to do some measuring to make sure that we did have 12 feet of water from the surface to the bottom of the pool. We just recently got those results here a couple weeks ago, and we're now waiting for a quote to install a diving board at Don Lugo.
Thank you. And, in the plans for the new Chino High School, are there any plans to install any diving boards or any facilities like that?
We are still working with the architect on the design for the new pool, but that has not come up yet, but we will bring it up.
Okay, thank you. On September 7th, I attended the Ayala varsity football game. They defeated our neighbors, Diamond Ranch. It was a pretty good game, so way to go, Ayala. On September 10th, I attended the ACT New Teacher Welcome event. It was nice to see the shining faces of our new teachers and to be able to welcome them into our district. And on September 11th, I attended a 9/11 remembrance ceremony held by the Chino Valley Fire District at Station 6 on Peyton Drive in Chino Hills. They've been doing this for several years, and they do a fantastic job. If you have a chance to get to it next year, I would highly encourage you to go. They do a fantastic job on remembering not just the first responders, but everybody that we lost on that day. Committee reports. Baldy View ROP. We continue to have a little bit of turnover at the administrative level at Baldy View. Part of the problem is the Riverside County Department of Education offered golden handshakes to a lot of their administrative staff and upper administrative staff people, and I don't think they were prepared for the number of people that actually accepted it. And so they have been, for lack of better terms, stealing administrators and cabinet level people from districts all around. I know my wife teaches in Orange Unified, and they lost the assistant superintendent to the county. Baldy View lost the assistant superintendent and a couple of coordinators, which are kind of equivalent to our directors, department directors. So their HR department is feverishly working to backfill those positions. We did fill them, and then we lost a couple of more that we just filled to Riverside again. So hopefully they're full now so that we can staff our needs over there. And then Chino Hills Parks and Recreation Commission on Saturday, September 21st, which is this Saturday, Mayor Moran and the city will be hosting the State of the City event. This year, instead of doing a semi-formal event, they decided to do a community fair. It'll be from 10 to 2 at the community center in Chino Hills. Everyone is welcome and invited to come. They're going to have different booths and games and things to do. It is a community event, and they will be serving hamburgers and hot dogs for the first 500 attendees. So that's this Saturday from 10 to 2. With that, that concludes my comments. Have a great night.
Good comments, thank you. Mrs. Gagne.
Yes, good evening. I'd first like to thank the team members from Liberty Elementary that are here tonight. I had the privilege of visiting your school last academic year, and I know you guys are doing amazing work already with technology in your makerspace, so I just wanted to thank you for coming this evening. I have my community coffees with Christina coming up. Unfortunately, I had to move this month, but I'm going to have one in October, November, and in January, so if you want a flyer, I have them up here. The Chamber of Commerce, which I represent this board to, is working on a couple of really exciting things. One of my goals is to make sure our local businesses in the Chamber are supporting the students in our school district. An internship program is going to be launched through the Chamber, working with local businesses so we can connect our students with internships. And the second thing that the Chamber is working on is a little Shark Tank-like program. So if students have business ideas, the idea is the Chamber has some money and they can support micro grants for those business ideas. So hopefully I'll have more updates over the next couple weeks as those things come together, but that's my report. So have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz?
Yes, Dr. Enfield, I've been hearing some wonderful progress that has been occurring at Ayala concerning with the ASL program. So it's a great step that we're moving towards. So great job. Ramona, safety is our paramount when it comes to our students and staff. And I think we do need an officer on site, so that's something too we should pay attention to. And Kathy Osmond, the 2016 American Association of Pediatrics concerning screen time, you're on point, and there is a balance between technology and the physical world, and what is good for our children at that level, technology screen time versus what we have normally been doing for centuries, the physical world. So, as a school district, and maybe we have done this, that we should investigate and look at the evidence, whether at that level if technology helps, tremendously, or does it affect, does it may harm our children at that lower level? And the persistence of Ms. Osmond shows us that, she deeply feels the importance of this discussion. So President Now, we should look at the evidence and see if this stuff is healthy for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Enfield?
No comments tonight.
I had a sad news actually last week. One of our parents' father was diagnosed with brain tumor in 5 places, and it had spread to his lung, so the family is devastated. So my prayer is with them, and also knowing that our loving teachers and staff members really worked hard for our students, also go through their own illness and family traumas, but because they love our students so much, they're keeping the classroom there intact and serving our students. They serve so well, our teachers, where, yes, Troy has a name, the different schools have the different name, but our district has a good name out there because of our teachers. Everywhere I go and I said Chino Valley, they say, oh, great school district, great teachers. So to lift myself up, I spent all week visiting high school kids. I had great time at Don Lugo High School at your lunchtime, and you guys are all busy, but just remember, you might get some stresses because you still have to do homework. Thank God I'm done with that, so I don't have that stress. But enjoy it. It's a great time to be young. Went to Ayala High School. The whole campus was really clean. Again, Mrs. Yalbui was picking up trashes, and I was able to help her. The college, it looked like a college campus actually, so it's really nice. Chino High School, my gosh, Mr. Miller, all the kids were looking for Mr. Miller. So it's good to be a popular principal, but also it was very tough because he couldn't find time to have a lunch. So it was a great place. And Chino Hills High School, our new principal, Randy, he was out there individually shaking all each students, greeting in the morning, trying to get their names, and the kids had responded really well. It's important, as Mrs. Osmond has said, and some of you guys might not know who she is, but I actually had experienced her in classroom with my own children years ago, and they're all doing well, even though our adults would have some difficult time having communications with the other, but she had made perfect sense to all the children because she really cared for each one of the kids. She doesn't have to worry about technology because she's not going to learn it. I'm not going to learn it. It's too late. But she's out here for you guys. So I so appreciate her. And all the teachers too. They have their own children, a lot of them in our own school sites. But their concern is more with their classroom kids. So that shows we have the best school district, best people. I had talked to a CSA member who had lost her husband when she was in early 40s and raised 3 kids, working diligently to provide things for 3 children. So I think here we're the best. Our principals are the best. Our cabinet members are the best. Our superintendent is the best. So we're just be blessed for things that we have. With that comment, I end the meeting at 6:50.